disabled teenagers. They showered them in India. Mother Teresa's mom said, "Oh, we are shorthand today, so you shower the babies, clean them, and then all the disabled teenagers, they got nobody. They said a prayer." Now, some of the youths are from bungalow houses, 2 maids at home. They were so helpless, said a prayer. They did all the work, cleaned the babies, had lunch with the teenagers, fed them, came back all crying. I said, "You want to stop and do shopping? We want to go back." Now, when they came back, we gave them a certification, community work overseas. When they applied for scholarships or overseas universities, it's recognized globally. Now, in the education system, globally, Oxford, Cambridge, Sydney University, what are they looking for? How much you made a difference when you were young, we want you. Parents are not aware of it. We found this out. Okay, one of my youth did not qualify to go to Sydney University. The dean wrote a lovely letter to him and said, "You're a brilliant young boy, but you don't do much of community work. There's so many files on my table from students from Africa, US, Australia. All of them have done community work." I said to him, "Raj, follow me to Thailand. 9 days intensive." I gave the certification. He sent it to Sydney University. The dean said, "We had a meeting. We felt you'll make a good doctor because of your empathy and compassion in reaching out to the abandoned. Welcome to medical school." So parents must realize that there is change. Despite all the dysfunctional chaos in family, like I said, they make the best parents because they suffer. The 2 words I always use are empathy. Empathy is the ability to feel for others because of your own suffering. Compassion is to journey with each other. Com and passion. Com is company, passion with a sense of fire, empowerment. So this is a great appeal to young people and to parents. Parents say, "We want to go, we want to go." So I was talking to Father Andrew last week. He said, "I think we take a group to Thailand, do community work." I said, "Okay." So I got the CD, I'm going to show it to him. He said, "Next year, June." Okay. So change. So it's no point sitting, attacking the church as not doing anything. The church is also limited, struggling, attacking parents and so on. It's how much you can do according to the models in Scripture and against the background of the mission and ministry of Jesus. Isaiah 61, Luke chapter 4. "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He has anointed me to preach good news to the poor, to set captives free." So that whole message is coming back, and it's a golden harvest. Look at it as a golden opportunity to reach out to people. For the youth, we have the vision that I outlined to you. Then we have a motto, empathy and compassion. Then we have a spirituality. John 15, vine and branches. I'm the vine, you are the branches. Stay close to me, and I will stay close to you, and you will bear fruit that would last. So we have a model. They are clear about the model. But the core of the model is sharing and no judgment. So when I started the school missions with an Australian priest, Father O'Neill, now his talks were fantastic. So he gave a talk on the Eucharist, then he has a break, then a talk on Sacrament of Reconciliation, a break, and then another talk, right? Now, Father O'Neill, at the end of the few days, sat down with me and said, "You're a deacon," at the time I was a deacon, "what are your views?" I said, "During recess, I sat with the students. They're all hurting. They're broken. Their parents are separated. They are struggling with school fees. And all they have are each other." He had a shock. He said, "Tomorrow, can you take over?" I said, "I got nothing prepared." So I went to the school, about 250 of them. I said, "Okay, this is the convent. Form 5, you all break into groups and just share something of your pain and struggle. So we dim the lights. Okay? Within 15 minutes, they were all crying and sharing, and all of them. And then they had tissue boxes, not enough tissue boxes. Somebody went to the toilet, got all the toilet rolls. And the teacher saw this. And they said, this is where they are. And then the Form 4 saw this. Form 3, they said, we want this now. So we changed it to love and friendship, a support umbrella for each other. And it grew. Again, the model is early Christian community. Now, later on in courting and dating, they are more sensitive to each other. And that blessing will reach out to the parents. That even though the parents are divorced, they meet the dad. Dad, let's go on. Dad, tell me, how are you, Dad? They meet the mom. So they don't take sides. Okay? But I feel we have a long way to go. Okay? Because, like I said earlier, the approach is activity in church. That must change, according to my observation. So you ask people in the parish who belong to a group, how are you? Turn around, exchange something about yourself. They do not know. I went to one group, they said, I've known this person for 6 years, but in 3 minutes when we shared, I've known a greater part of her life than 6 years or 7 years. So this is perhaps the challenge to counter all the toxins in society. People need people. People want someone to listen to them and to share. And then you have all the negative influences on pornography. It is a big scourge. They are struggling to cope with pornography. And that affects their performance, their relationship. The latest that I mentioned is paralysis. We call it a meltdown. Psychiatrists call it a meltdown syndrome, where they say to the mom and dad, I want to go to school. So what? Primary 6, 12 years old, 15, 16 years old. I do not have the statistics, but it's growing. So they just don't want to meet anyone. They sleep all day. 11 o'clock to 6 a.m. they're on the computer. They have breakfast, they sleep again. One boy, 13 years old, he walks around naked. He said, why should you wear clothes? Lucky they live in a bungalow house, and he has an older sister, a domestic helper, and the parents, grandma, grandpa. They can't have Chinese New Year dinner, Christmas, the whole place is sealed. So the mother said, do you want to see Father Pereira? Cool, that means okay. So I went to the house, he was there on the bed naked. I said, can we pray? Cool, you pray. And recently, his father had a heart attack. I saw him with his girlfriend in the hospital. He said, Father, thanks for everything. But he had clothes on, huh? So, you got to rely, when you look at helpless situations, God is at work. Through your prayers, through your pain, through your sense of empathy and compassion. We were giving a session at the school, and there was a non-Catholic principal. He was watching the healing service, the praying over. Then he said to me, you all can have it in the Catholic schools. I can't have it in the government schools. In the government schools, we have tug of war, secular games, but yours is deep. It's based on the Lord's invitation for them to change and to convert. So now we have the sharing, we have trips overseas, and when they see the abandoned babies, disabled teenagers, they visit the blind, take them out. They say, Father, we are spoiled brats, our problems are nothing. One teenager came back and said, Grandma, the domestic helper is always giving you a bath. Tomorrow I will give you a bath. This is the change. They have their problems, but they overcome it. They transcend their problems. And that is what we are about, like I said, no point attacking the system, no point attacking the government or attacking anyone. It's how much you are empowered, you had that dream, fulfill it, believe in yourself, journey with the family or the individual, and change will come. Okay? What's the time in front of us? Any questions? This is your chance, and you can attack me, attack the church, attack Father Patrick Hassan. Only chance.
Drug addicts.
You see, in Singapore, when a drug addict goes to a doctor, he says, I'm a drug addict, I need treatment. The doctor will say to the parents, I have to contact CNB, narcotics. It has to be on the record. But I'll treat your son or daughter. This is the rule in Singapore. So I had one case, 13-year-old girl who went to the city center with two friends. She didn't do well. We call them Mama San. You know what's Mama San? Mama San will sit there, red shoes, orange socks, all the thick makeup and eyebrows and everything. Mama San looked at her, darling, why are you so depressed? Why? She said, oh, I didn't do well my exam. Come on, mommy here. Mama San knows parents are working. Mama San works on a fraud empathy. Mama San gave her a drink, laced a drink. She was high. So some tourists told her friends, something wrong with your friend, take her home, take her home. In the end, the parents found out that she was on drugs and she wanted the drugs. She was stealing the father's money and buying the drugs from Mama San. Now they took her to the Catholic, to the government hospital. The doctor said, standard orders, we have to inform CNB. The father walked down, came to Novena Church with the mother and the girl. And I rang up the Catholic Mount Alvernia Hospital at MDM. And the nurse said, Father said who applies to us. They just walked down. Because drug, you cannot counsel. You got to go through cold turkey, intensive treatment and so on. So it is a problem. I read a Thanksgiving letter, Novena. This guy said, dear mother, thank you so much for setting me free from drugs. I came back at 10 o'clock. I was about to take my shot of marijuana. I saw the rosary hanging from the cupboard. My grandma gave me, she passed on. Suddenly, I took the rosary and prayed. I cried and cried. I went for confession. I didn't touch drugs for 2 years. So you have to be conscious in helpless situation, there is a power at work. We are helpless, we priests we are limited. But we rely on divine intervention. There's so many cases where God is moving. Even the government is looking to the church for help. We had a minister addressing us. He said, in his 20-minute speech, 10 times he mentioned help the youth. Because they know we got programs. I had a call from, a letter from Prime Minister's office years ago, a personal interview. So they want to learn. But I didn't reply. Then they called, they said, did you get our letter? I said, yeah, Father, we know you're busy. Can you bring the camera to your church and interview you? So there are two of them. They said, be open and honest like you are on the pulpit. I said, no problem. So first question, what do you think the government was wrong, the church was right? I said, stop at 2. You insisted, 2 children, now aging population. When you go to the schools, what disturbs you? I said segregation, Malays one side, Indians one side, Chinese the other side, learning Mandarin. They said, why? I said, because of their Mandarin policy. They don't want to mix. The Chinese have to speak Mandarin, common sense, to improve the language. That's segregation. Morning we sing the Majila, Singapore, and we the citizens of Singapore are united. And I said, oh, good. Then he said, tell us about all these trips to India, Thailand that we do. Why? I said, you condemn the youth. Do you have programs? Okay? They are lucky children, but they are looking for something deep. So we take them, they come back, it's a life-changing experience. They are changed. So we tell them to put a picture on the wall of all the refugee children, when they get up in the morning, the picture will speak to the brain. The psychic is on. And they will say, I will study for you, one day I will serve you. So it's a high motivating factor. So I said, can I have a copy of the video interview? He said, no, they cannot, it's classified. Then I was watching TV after 2 months, and we stood up. We have to send our youth overseas. It's a life-changing experience. I thought, this is my idea. But they're doing it now. They allocated $20 million for the school so that every student who leaves school would have made a mission trip. And they know Oxford, Cambridge, Sydney University won those papers, not academic. It's changed now. Even NUS University is not academic. If you just have a basic pass, but they know that you're doing work here, everywhere, they want you. The PAP interview, they call you. They look at your academic school, but they know, that's why they call you. They said, you've done all this overseas. We want you to serve in the government as a member of parliament. You can't say no. If the PM wants you, he wants you. They said, now it's payback time. You have to pay back what we gave you. So they are young MPs. And they get into government because they have served. They know what is it like to reach out to people who suffer, because they suffer too. So this is the approach that I have. Yes, I have the documents, I know, and my model is Pope Francis. You know, he was going through the Vatican Square, the motorcade. Thousands were there. He spotted his friend. The friend was an ex-priest. So the Pope pointed at him and said, come. Ex-priest himself, yeah. He came on the motorcade and going around, ex-priest. Because people do not know he's an ex-priest. So the need for empathy and compassion. Children, when they make a mistake, like I said on the mass, I said, they all love mom and dad. Everyone. Nobody has said, I don't love my mom and dad, except with the bonding stage. If you make them understand why you have to work, they will understand and love you all over again. So you have to sit down, you have to communicate. You have to say, Mom went through so much, all for you. And that will sink in their heart. Okay? Now, change must happen, but in the Catholic Church, institutional church, change is very hard to happen. I can say that to you. You must take the risk. And people will see that, hey, this is the vision that we have. I remember a girl came to, convent girl with uniform, and she came to Novena Church. She went at the back, and she was walking up and down, and she was smoking. One of the priests saw her, reported to the superior. Superior saw me. Do you teach your youth how to smoke? I said, no. One of the youth girls on Sunday came in school uniform, smoking. I said, Mother, yes. I do not know. She was looking for me. Okay, she had a terrible problem. She went on the main road, took an overdose, collapsed. Other youths saw her, they called an ambulance. He looked at me, sat down, and we began to talk about the vision of the Redemptress for the poor and the abandoned. Then he began to support me. Even starting the mission trips. I don't know, obstacles, starting a youth group of abandoned youths. Okay, it's difficult. Because they are learning, they'll make mistakes. And you have all the top groups there doing well. Indian House was the biggest group and most apostolic group. Okay? So this is the approach. Don't be disillusioned. Share your stories, share your worries with them, and above all, if you can pray with them. Fantastic with children. Before exams, mom and dad will pray over them. And then if daddy goes, he forgets to pray, they get very upset. Daddy didn't give me a blessing. Daddy didn't give me a hug. So all these are important for them. Okay? So there's plenty of hope, because with all the chaos, Yahweh God in Deuteronomy 32, I love this passage. I saw you in the wilderness. I surrounded you. I carried you on eagle's wings. I brought you to myself. I introduce myself to you. I'm God, you are mine. This is the nature of a compassionate God in Jesus. Never lose that nature no matter what happens to your children. Okay? Any questions? I don't want to take too long. So you have human development controlled by the social situation. The workforce ethics has changed. Lifestyle is so challenging, and marriage is a threat in the area of perseverance. But if they can sit down, share, and move ahead. I tell couples who have no time, I said, look, no need to go to Europe, Go to Malacca, go to Penang. It's beautiful, just two of you. Let grandma and grandpa take care of the grandchildren, and they're doing it. Fantastic. Make time for each other. Okay? Any questions? Are you clear on that? No questions? You want to have a break? You want to have a break? Anything at all? Anything at all? Yeah.
Father, I'm trying to reach out to a young boy, but he refused to take what I'm trying to say, but I also cannot make him hurt. If not, he will not come back to me and talk to me. He has never loved his parents, and he said his parents has never done anything for him. But he's an educated child. He's a Catholic also, because I actually don't say to him. But I'm trying my very best to talk and communicate with him. So when you say you want to learn cooking, I also very help him to teach him about cooking and to jam, But somehow, I still cannot reach out to him how to go about it so that he will still come back to me when I hurt him or say something that want to penetrate to me about forgiveness and all that.
Yeah, you are reaching out to him, okay? He's learning cooking and all, but don't push him too far. Don't say much. His birthday, just write out some beautiful words and say, if I hurt you in any way, please forgive me. That's all. So, do it quietly. They observe body language. They can see your aura of love. I went to one house and the parents said, I think our 15-year-old daughter is possessed. She doesn't talk to anyone. After school, straight in the room. She'll eat. The parents will pay some money there, school fees. And this was going on for a few weeks. I said, I'll visit your home. So I waited there, sat down, she came in. She looked, and the daddy said, can you wish Father Pereira? She stared at me, went to the room, banged the door. Never came out. Then I said to the parents, did you say anything that hurt her? It's not about possession or deliverance. Daddy said no. And the daddy told the mother, you had an argument with her and you shouted at her and you said, I wish you were never born. He said, when did it happen? 3 weeks ago. When did this start? 3 weeks ago. So she's acting as if she was never born. So I said to the mother, write a letter, give her a gift. What gift would you like? She said, a watch. Because she's got an old watch. I said, this watch is a symbol of our new relationship. I'm sorry, I'm struggling to be a mother. And she put the gift there. Next day, before going to school, she went to the mom, gave her a hug, and the dad, everything normal. Children forget easily. But you must do your approach that appeals to them. But don't lecture them too much. This lady brought the daughter after Novena. Grabbed the daughter. Oh, this is my daughter. Huh? Late nights party, never go to church. You go to confession of Father Simon, he'll take you to the room. Okay, you confess this, confess that, confess. I met the daughter. I just laughed, she laughed. I said, listen, girl, you can go back. You call me, this is my mobile number. Then she waited, Father, I make my confession. I said, I'm so sorry for what I did, but no, that's my mother. I said, can you give her a hug? She laughed, yeah, no big deal, give her a big hug. So, but some react, they take quite a while. So these are all possible situations which Psychologists and psychiatrists are discussing in the class with their students. Okay? But it can be solved, we can. Some have abortion, some. One girl shared, every day that month, she remembers the baby, the abortion day. And she goes to church and she can't get it off her mind, she cannot. I said, okay, you do a closure. A lot of children need closure and parents do. The closure is the CT scan that you have. You go to the beach, okay, you let it go. Give the child a name and proclaim the child as an angel and say goodbye. Sorry for all what mommy has done. I love you. Protect mommy. She's separated, and she let go of the CT scan. She saw the waves pushing it forward and backwards, and it just disappeared. And she said, I felt a heavy burden leaving me. She never mentions the abortion now. Closure is very important, and we hardly do it. A lot of closures happen during funerals. So I tell children, write a long letter, put it in the coffin. Say you love grandma, grandpa. So that is a closure, go on with your studies. But they like to come back to a praying, sharing, empathetic community. That is very important. So we sit down, we share. And like I said, now parents want to come in and share. Say, welcome. Parents want to do mission with their children. So I hope this parish is responsive and Father Andrew appeals because it will really bring change. It transcends their mind to leadership. Okay? One minister shared at our youth rally. He said, my wife was asked by the doctors to have an abortion because the child will be abnormal. He's a non-Catholic minister. He said, my wife is a Catholic. My wife said, I'm going to be in our church. And he said, my wife prayed and prayed before the picture of Jesus and Mary, perpetual help. And I was sitting outside the bench. And she kept on praying. When the baby was born normal, he said, that drew me to the faith, and now I'm a Catholic. Fantastic for a minister to come and share, government minister. Okay? So we don't attack them, they have their issues, they also struggle in them. Right? Any other questions? So counter the system, see what we can do against the background of the mission and ministry of Jesus, and other religions are watching us. They like our models. In Singapore, the Muslims do marriage encounter. They don't call it marriage encounter, they call it preparation for marriage. For Muslims, imagine, they never had it, now they're having it. They follow the models of the Catholic Church. And you have the community songs, Isaiah who build up, they change the word, okay? They don't bring in Jesus. Fair enough, they're willing. They get a lot of Catholics in all these government groups, they bring in new ideas from the Catholic Church. There's something you're saying, Richard Lai. He said, you don't realize how much our children are learning from the Catholic Church. The doctor was giving a presentation, and the CEO said, you're a teenager, you speak so confidently that you're learning from church. Okay, it's not about exams or tuition. In other ways, the Spirit is giving them beautiful formation. After Mass, I was traveling out to Singapore with my Toyota, and this guy was this big Mercedes with his wife, my former youth boy and girl, and he pretended to block me. I came out of my car, I said, Vito, you're driving a brand new Merc, what's your story, you spoiled brat? I can say anything to them. The wife laughed. He said, Father, I belong to Sumitomo Bank, Japanese bank, and a lot of politics when I joined, fighting the chairman flew from Tokyo and had a meeting with all the staff in the auditorium. And Fidelis said, I was sitting in a corner. Chairman said, young man, why are you so quiet? So Fidelis said, no, I just joined the bank only a few months. But sir, the fact that all of them are speaking up shows they're interested in the bank. I think we should get away, close the bank, go to a resort in Malaysia, play golf, drink beer, and then share, and then come back, the Spirit will change. Chairman said, you're only one giving good idea. Very good. Next week, went close. They went to a resort, I think there's a room, and it worked. They came back, they were so happy, they were greeting each other in the morning, and Chairman gave him 2 promotions in 3 years. Now as a deputy director at the bank. I said, oh my father, no big deal. You know, I learned from the church. You meet all the youth leaders and you come in with a long face and you say, this went wrong, that went wrong, all of us are talking, and then you say, let's go to Desaru and trash it out. And then we go, we drink beer, we chit chat, and then contested the leadership. That's how I learned that from the church. I got 2 promotions. So he drove over this guy. But he's still committed in helping other parishes. So you got to journey with them. Very interesting with David's problems like immorality and adultery. God said to the prophet Nathan to tell David, I will be with you in all your expeditions. The magic word for parents and grandparents to their grandchildren and children is, I will journey with you. That's all they need to hear. I will journey with you. That's all. So these are very powerful scriptural passages to counter all the toxins in us. And there's no point blaming the system. Okay, any other question?
Child marriages, we have this problem in the Muslim community. It's not fully in the problem. Child marriages.
Child marriages are a total abuse on the dignity and sexual growth of children. And it's an exploitative, corrupt mindset. That's my answer. I wanted to say that last night, but I said prudence. I'm a foreigner. I cannot. Okay? No psychologist in any part of the world will support it. In fact, they are laughing at it and very alarmed. It's basically raping a child. I put it bluntly. Raping a child. So you're talking about human, sexual, emotional development. You bring in psychology. In all our approach, you bring in anthropology, psychology, sociology. No one can touch you. Okay? So in Singapore, people say, oh, then be careful. And you're very outspoken. I say, no, my backs are there. So no one dare touch you. Good, okay, we can discuss like this. So we got to be outright when people ask us. Don't let their ideas continue. We got to counter it. Okay? Sorry? Then we can discuss religion. What is the whole approach of religion? To respect the widow, to reach out for the orphan, to comfort and to solace.